What's good, everybody? NicMakesPlays here. Today, I'm going to go over a high-quality Despia deck guide for the current Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. After bubbling the YCS, I really was looking for a new deck to play, and Despia's came out. I got first place in my locals with it. I think that's amazing. Hopefully, going to try and win the next YCS with it. So if you have your goal of winning your locals, regionals, YCS, whatever, just want a good deck guide, here we go. Let's just get into the deck guide, and I'll show you the optimal way to build the deck, play the deck, and its combos. And if you guys are excited for the new Despia deck, the new Albaz structure deck, stuff like that, you really appreciate seeing the combos and how I build the deck, make sure you like, subscribe, I really appreciate it, but let's get into the first card. So we'll start with the main deck. So first card, 3 Albaz, Jester the Despia. So basically it searches branded fusion. When it's normal summoned or special summoned, you search a brand spell trap in your deck to your hand. If you already have branded fusion, you can search branded red. I'll go over the combo lines later on what you do if you have just the Jester, Jester plus Branded Fusion, Jester plus Branded Fusion, Branded Red, whatever. Its other effect is that if a fusion monster leaves the field by battle or opponent's card effect while it's in the graveyard, it can reborn itself and negate a monster your opponent controls to the end of the turn. It can't search when it does that because it only can do one of its effects per turn. But it's very important just to have the floater over and over again, and it's being able to refuse, but it's mostly used to search a Branded Fusion. And again, of course, I'll go over all the combos later, so I'll show you how to use them to their full potential. Next is Libitum. This is one of the main cards of the combo. You want to search this off Tragedy after you Branded Fusion with Tragedy from the deck, and you're going to use this to reuse your Mirror Jade from the extra deck. You get multiple Mirror Jades per turn. So this is search off Tragedy during the combo we'll go over later. Next is 2 Despian Tragedy. This card is absolutely amazing. You want to send this and follow an Albaz when it's the graveyard. When it's fused with, or sent to the graveyard by a card effect, or when it's banished by a card effect, you get to search a Despia card direct your hand. So you can search the the Libitum for the combo, or if you're just grinding, let's say you have like a Polymerization, this, and a Edgem Chain, then you can fuse and you can search Albaz, and you can summon Albaz and get the Branded Fusion. So very, very strong card to fuse with from the deck, or in general, to search the Despia card you need still. Next, you have 2 Fallen of Albaz. Pretty straightforward card. This is the main fusion material. Branded Fusion says fuse from your deck. For a card that lists Fallen of Albaz as fusion material, so you have to use the Fallen of Albaz. So yeah, you just use this to make all the new fusions from the structure deck. But it also, just good, its effect is that you can summon, discard a card, and then you can fuse with itself and monsters your opponent controls for a monster from the extra deck. So it's kind of like a Super Poly in certain ways. A cool thing you can do against such as Florindese, you can summon it, discard a card, use this and the M-Pen for Titaniclad. There's all kinds of crazy ways to do it. You can bait things out with it. You can use their fusions or whatever, their XYZ monsters, Link monsters, and make Mirror Jade, so very good. And you run 2 because if you already used one, you wouldn't have access to the other one in the deck. Otherwise, you can't use your Branded Fusions. Alright, next we have 3 Edgem Chain. Mostly used just for the Fragrant Patchwork, but it has a lot of discard fodder in this deck. You have Brand Opening, Super Polymerization, stuff like that. So you're able to just discard these, or Libellion itself in the extra deck. You can discard these, get Fragrant Patchwork, keep fusing. This just gives you infinite fuel to not run out of cards, keep making Guardian Chimeras over and over again. And again, as I said earlier, in certain hands, it makes the deck more consistent. Because what you can do is you can fuse these 2 together to make like a Cordylis or whatever. And then you can search your Jester, summon Jester, get Branded Fusion. So it gives you more ways to access the Branded Fusion. Very, very, very good in this deck. Has all kinds of synergies. Alright, next up, we have our hand traps, at least a few of them. We have 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Generically good, doesn't need much introduction, but you can negate Branded Fusion with this. You can stop Water Enchantress, all kinds of stuff. It's one of your hand traps. And then 3 Effect Veiler. So all hand traps are really good against this deck. That's one of the deck's biggest weaknesses, is how susceptible it is to hand traps. So you have Veiler here, right? But you don't want to Veiler the Albaz, because if you summon Albaz, and then they already have like a Branded Fusion in hand, like so you summon this, you Veiler, they use Branded Fusion, you're just kind of screwed because they still get Branded Fusion anyway if they have one, again, in the hand. So you want to save this for Libellion. When they summon the Libellion, they have to discard for cost, and then you can just Veiler that, and then they're stuck with Libellion and Albaz on the field. That's much better because it plays around having, if they have Branded Fusion in hand, they discard for a cost, so they lose a card. And yeah, it's mostly for that. Also, just generically good. The reason I like this a lot is they're generically good against, like, Verita Conde and most matchups and stuff like that. All right, so there's more hand traps later, don't worry. But those are 3 for now. All right, so get the spells. 3 Freight for Patchwork. This card says search a Edgem Chain and search a Polymerization. So you get this, you get Polymerization. It's just a lot of free card advantage. Again, you can fuse with the Tragedy, fuse with Fallen Albaz from hand. This is really good playing through hand traps. It's one of the main reasons I like it. The Brave Engine's good too, but I also just like to win with the discard fodder and place through hand traps. If they do stop you, like your Ash on your Branded Fusion, you can just fuse naturally. So also a bonus effect is you have Polymerization and Grave. Guardian Camaro can't be targeted by card effects, so that's a good little bonus we'll get to later. So next card that goes with it, Polymerization. So obviously searchable. You can discard these to the graveyard for the discard fodder. Get a fuse from hand for Guardian Camaro, and then of course Guardian Camaro gets his bonus effect, which I'll show later. We get the extra deck. 3 Pot of Prosperity adds consistency. You're really gonna see Albaz and Branded Fusion in this deck. So one thing that's really nice is if you summon Albaz and they Veiler, you can just Prosperity and dig for Branded Fusion. It lets you search them if you don't have them in hand already, just from the get-go. And if you have everything, you can also just search for like a Branded in red. So yeah, because if you have a Branded red, Albaz and Branded Fusion, you get an extra Mirror Jade effect, which I'll go over in the combo later. All right, so 3 Branded openings. This card is very powerful. So when you activate it, it's not a cost to discard. But if it goes through, you discard a card. You can discard like Edgem Chain or whatever, and search for Fight for Patchwork. And then you can either special summon in defense a Despia monster or add one to your hand. So usually you're always gonna be getting the Jester here, or the Joker. And then if you're gonna normal summon this card and nothing else in turn 1, you want to add it to your hand. That way you can normal summon it, and it's better to be attack than defense, because defense has 0 defense and 1800 attack. So 0 defense, easy to kill. But putting an attack, 1800, that can stick on the field potentially. So a lot of times I'll add it to my hand and just summon it. And then this card's other effect, which is really strong, is it's in the graveyard. If a fusion monster will be destroyed, you can banish it from graveyard to protect the monster. So a very common card in the meta is Destiny Phoenix Enforcer, DP if you will. And if they try and blow up a card with like a fusion monster with the DP, then you can just banish and keep your guy alive. So very strong card. Lets you reliably see the Albaz, gets the Fusion Destiny, and does the combo we're going to in a bit. So 3 Branded Fusion. Fuse from the deck, hand or field, a card that mentions Fallen Albaz, the fusion material. You want to use Fallen Albaz and Despia Tragedy from the deck. Again, the main point of this video is going to be the combo. I really want to show off the best combo for this deck, because a lot of people are playing Light X Fusion, Light Helix X Fusion, and Dragoon, like Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and that combo is just so inferior to the combo I'm going to show you today. It is worse in almost every single way. It's either you get a Dragoon, or you like blow up a card, banish a card, draw 2 cards, search another Branded Fusion, and search an Albaz. That's what I'm going to show you today. So again, these cards, obviously from the structure deck, very strong, but they're more strong when I show you how to use them. So we'll get to that in a second. 3 Branded red. This card's, oh my god, this card's absolutely amazing. So yeah, this lets you just grind and reuse your Tragedies, and it's one of the main combo pieces of the combo. I'm going to be showing you today too. But yeah, you target a Despia Engrave, add it to your hand, and then fuse with those cards. You don't have to fuse for a Despia monster. You can just fuse for Guardian Camaro, which is what we're doing mostly. So again, finish with the deck, and I'll show you the combos of this deck and how to play on hand traps and stuff like that. 3 Super Poly, generically good right now. It's good again. If they have like Scythe Lock, you can do draw phase. If they don't blow up their own Anaconda turn 1, you can go draw phase, player party. You can do something first, discard a card, use their Verta Anaconda and their DP, make Starving Venom, and then they don't get to try to do the Scythe Lock, so they get to blow it up. Also, of course, amazing in the mirror. They run Fallen Albazes, they run Fusion Monsters, all kinds of stuff. So generically just really strong right now because it can't be responded to. And 1 Call by the Grave. So this deck's biggest weakness is that it loses the hand traps. So Call by the Grave is really good. The reason it's better in the main deck than Cross the Designator, I think, is it's slightly better going second. Like slightly, it's mixed, but this can banish DP from graveyard. If they try and Scythe Lock, this like they pop their artifact Scythe goes to graveyard, you banish it with Call by the Grave. So really good card. It's obviously it's at 1, so yeah, I mean 1 Call by the Grave. Alright, last hand traps in the main deck at least is 3 Infinite Impermanence. Again, use on Lebellion, generically good. It's fine going second as well to stop like the Scythe Lock. They try and Scythe and you just like Imperm. Basically it's like lose the hand traps and Scythe Lock, so it's nice to have this. I also like how my main deck's generically good. It's not like too specific to anything, so I think at like a big event like a YCS, it would do well over many rounds and stuff like that. And I did win my locals with it, but yeah, let's get to the main combo. So the main part of this deck is the combos. I guess we'll show you the extra deck first, just so you guys can know what cards we're working with here. 2 Lebellion. This card is the main card you summon off of the Branded Fusion. Discard a card, then you can fuse from your field, graveyard, or banish, or face the banish pile. Shuffle the cards back in the deck, and then you fuse with them. So basically, you're going to fuse with itself and Fallen Albaz to make Mirror Jade, which I'll show you. And it can't attack the turn that you fuse with it. And it also discards for costs, so you can discard the Edgem Chain, and it gives you a lot of fuel to keep going. 2 Mirror Jade. This card's actually broken. I don't care what anyone says. This card is so absurdly broken. The main monster you're playing in this deck is this and Guardian Chimera, or Summoning. You're going to want to loop these a lot. So what it does, it's so broken. Oh my god. Okay, so what it does is for cost. So if you activate it, it's just literally a cost to send it to the graveyard. This has a graveyard effect we'll get to in a second. So for cost in the graveyard, then it banishes a monster in the field it doesn't target. So it's a banish that doesn't target, and you get to search a brand fusion in the turn via this card's effect. And you can't use the effect the next turn after you used it. That's important to know, but it's per copy. So like what we're going to do is use it, banish it, and then bring it back from the banish pile with Libitum, and then use it again. Its other effect is that if it leaves the field by opponent's card, that means by battle or card effect, you can activate it right when it hits the grave or banish pile or whatever. Then the end phase of the turn, it destroys all opponent's monsters. So it's just a card that like will search you a spell or trap, which we'll get to how it does that. Banish the card, non-targeting, and bullets enemy field. It's ridiculous, and we're going to loop this card mostly with this deck is what we're going to do. So I'll go over this card, explain like how it searches and stuff like that. So its main effect is that when sent to the graveyard, that turn at the end phase, you can set a branded spell or trap card from your deck to the field. But its other effect is that if you summon it, you can banish from your graveyard materials to summon a level 8 or higher fusion monster. So I run 3 of this card compared to like 2 of these other ones, because you send this card off Mirror Jade regularly to get the cost to send a fusion monster to banish a card, and then you get the effect at the end phase to set a spell or trap. So I wanted to have 2 for Mirror Jades, and then 1 to actually summon naturally for later. So I run 3 of this card. Next, we have 2 Guardian Chimera. This card, Mirror Jade, probably the best cards in the deck. Absolutely insane card. This card is ridiculous. All right, so you need to fuse with it with 3 different monsters from your field and hand. You have to have 1 of each, like the hand and the field. It doesn't target, by the way. So once they say okay, it's good to go, like they can't do anything. Like it doesn't target. So for every card you fuse with in the hand, you draw that many cards, and every card you fuse with in the field, you destroy that many cards. So if you fuse with regularly, you'll fuse with 2 from hand, 1 from field, blow up 1 of their cards, and then draw 2. You can do this on your opponent's turn. I'll show you how in the combo with Brandon and Red. Also, if you do 2 in the field, 1 in the hand, you destroy 2 of their cards, then draw 1. It can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects if you have Polymerization in Graveyard, which we can discard easily up like Brand Opening, Libellion, whatever. So it can't be targeted. He's 33-33. And then if you have Brand Opening in Graveyard, this can protect him from being destroyed once. So he's the 3300 that draws 2, destroys a card, can't be targeted, and can't be destroyed by a card effect. So very, very strong. All right, so next is Despian Quartus. This card's 2500. It just needs a Despia and a Layered Arc, Despia and a Layered Arc monster. You can, during the main phase, quick effect, so you can do it on your opponent's turn, make everything that's not a level 8 or higher fusion go to 0 attack. This is very easy at going for game. So you can, like, if your opponent has a huge board, you can summon this, make everything 0, attack over everything, do like 8,000 damage and kill them. Also, it's good defensively because you can do that, so you get to live 1 more turn. Regularly, what you'll do against hand traps, or I guess I'll explain last effect first. So it's last effect when it leaves the field by opponent's card. You can summon a Fallen of Albaz or Despia monster from your deck. So regularly, what you'll do if they have like double hand trap. Let's say like they have like Valor and Ash, like they just like Valor your Albaz or something, and then you brand a fusion, and then they Ash that. What you'll do is you'll fuse with the Edgem Chain, and so let's just say like you summon this, they Valor. You brand fusion because you're head in hand. They Ash. You'll want to fuse with these 2. If you have Patchwork, you can just go like, okay, Patchwork, search Polymerization, Edgem Chain, fuse these 2. You'll get Albaz and Grave, and you'll get this on the field, making it very, very hard for your opponent to push through things. Because when this card leaves the field, it gets a card, and then when it leaves the field, Albaz reborns. And they're working with 2 less cards to hit a double hand trap, and it's just very hard for them to kill you, and the next turn you can just do whatever you want and kill them. So this is really good at playing through hand traps, or like a safe play to make after you get hand trapped. Alright, next card. We have Masquerade, Blazing Dragon. So whenever your opponent uses a card effect, they take 600 damage, 2500, 2000. He just needs a Despia and a Light or Dark monster. And then when he leaves, or he's in the graveyard, if your opponent has a ritual, I think it's like a Ritual Fusion Link or Execute or Sync or anything like that, he can reborn to the field and then banish him to the field. The reason this card's so good is because if you get your opponent to half health, he just burns so much damage every turn, or every action they do the card or effect. So if you get like 4,000, you just play this and they usually just will die. It's really good in time for stuff like that too. Certain decks like the Eldritch matchup, they use like Solemn Strike and Solemn Judgment. You can easily just play this and then burn them out, so it's good. Titaniclad, really only in here because you can Super Poly or use Fallen Albaz effect with M-Pen to make this. It makes other stuff too. Also, if you Mirror Jade multiple times in one turn, you can send this to the graveyard because you already so Albion's once per turn. Once in the graveyard, end phase, get a spell or trap. This card's effect is that end phase is in the graveyard. You can search a Fallen Albaz or summon it to the field. So if you use Mirror Jade multiple times in one turn, if you like 2 Mirror Jades or you reuse one, you send this one first, then this one, and you get two effects at the end phase instead of just the Albion. So it's a good target to get rid of things with Fallen Albaz, Super Poly, and it's a good extra free card off of the Mirror Jades. All right, so Paraband Verdant Conde. This is just for grindy games. So 2 effect monsters, Link. You can use a fusion spell from deck. Use Branded Fusion. You can't special summon again the turn you use this effect. So it's mostly just like if your opponent has a ton of hand traps and you're grinding, it gives you access to Branded Fusion. It won't be that strong initially, but it'll load your graveyard. Because you can fuse with like Tragedy, search Albert for next turn. The next turn you can summon Albert and then Branded Fusion. So it's very important to have this. Also, you can't Link summon the turn you use Branded Fusion. You can from this if you use Branded Fusion from this effect, but if you naturally activate Branded Fusion, you can't make this. So it's just for grindier games or like games where you get hand trapped a lot. It lets you access your engine. And then Super Poly targets, Mud Dragon. This could be Predaplant, Dragostaphiel if you want, or it can really just be any other card. But this is the flex spot. It's just two monsters, same attribute, different type. It just lets you Super Poly them, so that's just generically good in certain scenarios. So that's nice. And then Starving Venom, very common in this meta against almost everything, like Verdant Conde, DPE, Despia. He just needs 2 darks in the field. When he's summoned, he can gain the attack of an opponent's monster. Then, once per turn, you can copy an effect of your opponent's monster. So if they have, like, Baron to Floor or something, you can copy it, and then you get a free Omni Negate and Destroy. And then its last effect is if it's destroyed, then it destroys all special monsters to control. So you can, like, try and copy one of their negates, and if they negate and destroy it, then it'll just blow up their field. So it's just really good at going for games and gain attack and push it through things. All right, let's get to the combos. And we'll decide after. The main part of the section is the combos, though. So let me show you the optimal combo if you just have like Albert and any card in hand to discard. You need a discard card, but like you're gonna have one turn one. You have 5 cards. All right, so what some people are doing is you summon this, you send like Light Hex Fusion and Fallen of Albaz to the graveyard, and then you get Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and you just pass, and that's it. This is like your whole board, just Dragoon. There's just 1 negate. It's really not a big deal, not that good. You can just Super Poly this or whatever. And that's it. You get no refuel or anything. It's just really inferior to the combo I'm about to show you. I own a Dragoon, but it's in my room, so I don't feel like... For the example, just know that you can have a Dragoon. That's it, like just 1 negate, or you can do the Wombo combo. So you summon Albert, and of course you have cards in hand. You summon Albert, you search Branded Fusion. All right, activate Branded Fusion. You send the Despian Tragedy, and you send the Fallen of Albaz to the graveyard. All right, so these are engraved. You summon Libellion. And then you have the discard card as cost for Libellion. If you have Edgem Chain, you can search off of it. Whatever. Chainlink 2, Despian Tragedy. Chainlink 1, Libellion. So Chainlink 2, Despian Tragedy. Tragedy searches when it's fused with for Libitum. You fuse with the Libellion itself, and the Fallen of Albaz goes back to your deck. And then you get Mirror Jade. So your field is currently this. You have Mirror Jade, Albert, and Libitum. So you use Mirror Jade's effect. You send Albion as a cost, and you have to banish card in the field, and you can't use this next turn. So you might be thinking, why is this even good? You just didn't do any. You just have 2 cards, and you can't use the next turn. But then what happens next turn is insane. So it sets Albion sets a branded red face down. So your field is now, this is your hand. These are the field. This is all from just Albert and discard card. All right, so their turn. So you can activate branded red. You target your Tragedy in your graveyard. You fuse with the Mirror Jade, the Tragedy, and the Libitum. And then you summon Guardian Chimera. So you fuse with 2 cards from hand and 1 on the field. So you're going to destroy 1 card they control and draw 2 cards. So you go Chainlink 1, Chain 2, target Mirror Jade. This when it's used with it, reborns a banish or fusion from your graveyard. Chain 3, Tragedy. So you can search another Albaz. You get to reborn the Mirror Jade, and you get to destroy a card, then draw 2. So what happens here is your hand is now this. You have Albaz, 2 cards, and you destroyed one of their cards. Then, Mirror Jade's the new copy. You can use its effect to banish one monster they control, send Albion to the graveyard again. So then at the end phase, you get Albion's effect, and you can get another Branded Fusion, or you can get really whatever you want. But let's just say we get Branded Fusion here. So you ended up destroying one of their cards, banishing one of their cards, searching another Albaz, another Branded Fusion, and drawing 2 cards. And you have these big bodies on the field. So all off just an Albaz. All off just an Albaz and a discard target. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6 cards. You get both the cards you use back. And you draw 2 and have these guys. And banish one of their cards and destroy a card. So yeah, that's one of the main combos of the deck. That's the main combo of the deck is looping around this one. But there are a few other things you can do. There's a slightly better combo. Let's say you have these 2 in hand. Or let me show you. So let's say your hand is either these 2. Okay, this plus either of these. The Albaz plus either Branded Fusion or Branded Red. Okay, let's just call it Branded Fusion. So you summon this, whichever one you don't have, you just search at your hand. Then what you do is you do the same combo, essentially, where you send the Fallen of Albaz and the Despia Tragedy to graveyard, and then you summon the Rebellion, Chain 2, Chain 1, discard for cost, and then you search the Libitum, and you fuse with this, plus the Fallen of Albaz back into your deck, and you make Mirror Jade. Now, the reason this is so much better is this Mirror Jade we don't have to use, because we don't have to search Branded Red, because we searched it already off Albaz. So we can just set this, and we get an extra Mirror Jade effect. So here's what will happen. They'll go. So they try and summon whatever, summon a Prank Kid, or I don't know, they use Rite of Artemis here and get a token. You banish it with the Albion, or the Mirror Jade sending the Albion. Then when they try and do more, you flip this, add the tragedies from your hand. Then you can banish these 3. Oh, and you get to keep your Albaz, which is really good. Banish these 3, summon Guardian Chimera, summon this back, search for another Albaz. So now you get to draw 2 again and destroy a card. So let's just say you draw these 2, destroying their cards. Then you have another Mirror Jade you haven't used. So this is a new fresh copy. Then you're like, okay, what you've already done so far is got another Albaz, drew 2, banished a card, and destroyed a card. So it's extremely hard to play through this. Then you get another one, so effect. You get to banish another card. And you can send Titaniclad now, because you already have Albion, it's once per turn. Then at end phase, you can just add Fallen of Albaz to your hand, or summon to the field if you want. And then you get another fusion. So you can get another Branded Fusion or Branded Red. So off of Albaz plus Branded Fusion or Albaz plus Branded Red, you get this combo. You get this many cards. These are all still in the field. This card also has the effect when it dies. This is really good because it also keeps Albaz in the field, so that he can just keep coming back whenever he gets removed. So it's actually really good at grinding. But you got 3 removals. Not only did you search all these cards, you got 3 removals. You got 2 banishes that don't target, and destruction that doesn't target, which is pretty insane. So that's the main combo of the deck. Again, if they hand trap you, you can just fuse with the Albaz and you can do Fright for Patchwork plus. Here, I'll show you how to play through hand traps. So this deck's susceptible with hand traps. They can Ghost Spell, Rebellion, or Phaler, Imperm, or Ash the Branded Fusion. But what you do if that happens is you just go summon to the Veiler, Branded Fusion, the Ash, whatever. They decide everything, I guess. You do Fright for Patchwork. You search Poly and Edge of Chain. You just fuse these 2 for the Quartus, then this will activate. Search another fight for Patchwork. And then if they kill this, then you get to reborn an Well, you can optionally reborn Albert or Albaz, because if this gets if this dies, you can get Jester and search the Branded Fusion. But it basically just makes you can't die, because you have an Albert and Grave that reborn and negate something to be a blocker, and also when this leaves the field to get something, and it also makes everything 0. That's not a level 8 Heart Fusion. So this deck's actually decent through hand traps once you learn how to like deal with it, and you can just kill it next turn. There's a lot of combos in this deck. I go forever. That's the main one, so I'll just leave that there. I guess I could show you what happens if you only have Branded Fusion. This is the last one. So activate Branded Fusion. You send Fallen of Albaz, and you send Tragedy, and of course you need a card to discard. And then you just get Rebellion, Chainlink 2, Chainlink 1. You'll discard whatever. And then Tragedy will search this. This will fuse. This will go back in the deck. And you'll get Mirror Jade. And then you can summon. So here you can summon this, and you can get branded in red. You won't have the Libitum here, but you still off one card get a fresh Mirror Jade. You get Albert, and you get branded in red. Just off all of one Branded Fusion. So you get a banish, and then you can do all kinds of stuff with like the Branded Albion, stuff like that next turn. So very good. All right. Last but not least, we got the side deck. So the side deck took me a lot of figuring. I probably should organize it. It's hard to pick battles nowadays because there's just like something else to account for with the Despias now, like Trap Eldritch, Prank Kids, stuff like that. But here's what I came up with, and I thought this was long and hard. There's like a million different things you can add in the side deck, but here we go. 3 Ghost Spell. Generically good against the... Well, it's good in general as going second against a lot of like the 60 card piles, but it's mostly for Despia. What you can do is you can use this on the Lebellion. So obviously it's like another effect Veiler or Imperm versus Lebellion. If they have Branded in red, like say you hand trap them and like okay set Branded in red, you can use this on Branded in red. And then they just like kind of fold. Especially if they do the play that I showed you where like you use your own Mirror Jade turn 1 if they don't have a Albert plus a Branded red or Branded Fusion, and then they just like have a Mirror Jade they already use, and it's really good. This can also stop cards like Water Enchantress and stuff, even turn 1 if they don't have a right Emissary and Grave, because it can add from Grave, it negates Enchantress, so it negates Enchantress. It's really good versus Brave Despia, but in general it just stops Branded Red, stops Rebellion and stuff, Enchantress, and it's just generically good. Versus Prank Kids, they full combo. They end with like Bow Wow to at the end they add the 2 guys they need to fuse for a Battle Butler to hand, and you just do it on their Bow Wow, and then they can't fuse, and you just kill them. All right, next card, 3 Token Collector. This card, I think this is just the staple of the format. Like I don't think there's a way around it. There's a lot of good hand traps, but this one's just absolutely insane because it's good for Sword Soul Tenny. Obviously, they make tokens. It's good for Cyrus Eldritch, which is also one of the most popular decks right now because they have the Brave Engine and they have the Link Disciple combos of some of those tokens and like Dotscaper and stuff like that. And then it's also just good versus like Prank Kids somewhat if they have like of course the Brave Engines in it and stuff. So this is just generically good against like 3 of the tier 1 decks or 3+ of the tier 1 decks. So absolutely amazing card. Also it's 6 on the field. Like when you play this, it's just there like the whole game until they kill it. And if they kill it, it goes to the grave. You can reborn it again if they pay another token. So this card's just probably one of the best, if not the best side deck card in the game right now. I think everyone already knows that, but in case you aren't playing it, you should reconsider. Back row removal. This is just for Trap Eldritch, stuff like that. It's just generically good. The Cosmics. You can do this in certain ways. You can do this on like the mirror match on their Branded in red, so they're forced to use it early to don't get a good Guardian Chimeric, so it won't blow anything up. You can use it on like Dreamy Town against Florindis early. You can use it on the Outbreak Scythe. It's generically good, but this is mostly just for the Trap Eldritch deck. You can main these though. I was thinking about maining these just because like some people like I don't want to lose game 1 to Trap Eldritch. It's kind of popular and it's generically good, but yeah. Okay. So the last card's kind of spicy, so I'll hold at the end. These are cross-out designators. I've just been borrowing them. But cross-out designator, obviously, like you just call a card and then you banish from your deck and then it negates their effects that they have. So this deck's weakness is hand traps. So what I do is you just, of course, when you're like doing your combo, like summon this, play Branded Fusion. They use Ash Blossom on Branded Fusion. You just negate Ash Blossom and then you get the combo off. So it's really good going first. In the mirror, if you draw like multiples or they don't have a hand trap, you can also like do your whole combo. They activate Branded Fusion. Then you're like, all right, cross-out designator. banish mana Brand Infusion, negate your Brand Infusion. So negates their Brand Infusion, negates hand traps. Despia and Comedy is kind of similar, but it only stops like Valor and Imperm, and then you have to also you don't get to search Libitum if you search Comedy from the deck at least. So this just seems way better because it stops Ghost Spell, it stops Ash, it stops Valor, it stops Imperm, and it can also be used on your opponent's cards in the mirror, like the Brand Infusion and stuff like that. All right. Last but not least is for Florindis, we have Zombie World and Necro World Banshee. It's also being reprinted in the Ghost of the Past, I believe, so you can get them. They're a lot cheaper now. So what you do is you just fuse with Fallen of Albaz. So you use Brand Infusion. You fuse with the Fallen of Albaz and the Necro World Banshee. This is in the deck, and you make whatever. Honestly, I guess it's like what, a dark and a guy. So you would just make Libellion. And you can just do the Libellion makes Mirror Jade and stuff like that. So we'll do the combo. Make Mirror Jade. Then this card says what's in the graveyard. You can banish it to get Zombie World, and you search Zombie World. So the reason Zombie World... So this is basically just a fusible way to search Zombie World, or a searchable Zombie World, essentially. So Zombie World's absolutely broken versus Florindis because it says that all monsters are zombie types. So when they banish their like Florindis monsters and then they summon another guy, they can't get them back because it says they have to see Wing Beast be summoned, and now they're zombies. That now says that you can't tribute summon anything besides zombies, so they can't tribute summon M-Pen, and they lose all their refuel off the banished guys. And so it's just a searchable way to beat Florindis, especially going first. Or in general, maybe I'm going second, you probably still play it for the grind, because it's just so good. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and make sure you guys like and subscribe for more videos. Appreciate it, thanks.